going to be going over exactly why I went to college, why I thought it was a really good idea, and why, like, what I was doing during college, and then why I eventually left after a year and a half of sticking in university, thinking it was the best path to go down at 18, 19, or 20 years old. I think I was 19 or 20. But yeah, starting off, the reason I went off to college in the first place is just because like I really knew nothing better to do, because all I was doing back home after graduating high school was, smoking weed. I think I was like working at Red Lobster, or no, that was after I went to college. But yeah, I was already working a little bit. I worked at like Smoothie King. I worked on the farm. Just two very basic jobs, no skills required. It's gonna be very soon when AI replaces those types of jobs. But yeah, I was just smoking weed, partying, hanging around with a bunch of girls, with my friends, just doing a bunch of degenerate stuff with no purpose or place, just, diving into enjoying pleasures fully with my time. But the thing is, like, I had really only one thing that I was good at, and that was basketball and talking to girls and, making friends. Like, those are the three skills that I had at the time. So with those skills, I had very limited opportunities that were coming my way. My network was very, very small, and the paths that I thought I could go down, I thought was very limited to me. So the only option that I saw in my horizon was to go to university. So that's exactly what I did. I was trying to get a scholarship for basketball ever since I started playing basketball. Like, my goal was to go to the NBA when I was like in middle school. Didn't make it on the middle school basketball team ever in my life, but then I made on the basketball team in high school. First the freshman team, then the junior varsity, started at varsity, all that type of stuff. But yeah, I was just planning on finding a way to make it to the NBA, which was like my long-term goal. So that was another reason I decided to go to college in the first place. So yeah, went to Truett McConnell University, which is like this Christian university up in North Georgia. I think it's like a 2 or 3 hour drive from where I was from, which was in Newnan, Georgia. So it was quite a drive. I was in the mountains in the middle of nowhere. The only thing that we had was like Walmart, a few pubs. That's pretty much it. It was like a Christian university. It was definitely very questionable in terms of like how they ran things. It was like more of like a cult type of thing, where you would wake up and everyone would just be like the same exact person. It's like a Christianity type of thing. So, I mean, of course, it's going to be like Christian based, but it was just like everyone had their own kind of lingo and what they believed in, what they did on a day-to-day basis. They did like the disc golf type of stuff. They never went out. But the thing is, like, with the friends that I did meet in college, especially on the basketball team, they were all very degenerate, just like me, which kind of amplified my bad decisions even more. Just because like every day we were smoking weed, every weekend going out to North Georgia, which is a little bit more north, or we would go to Kennesaw State University, which is a little bit down south. We would just go party at the bigger schools that had these parties, just because the Truett, like I said, it's a Christian university. They didn't really have any parties unless it was like a Bible study. So yeah, we would just go up north or down south to party the night out each and every single weekend. And the thing is, like, during this time at university, the only thing that I was focused on was, of course, basketball. And then, of course, smoking weed, how I was going to buy weed. And the thing is, like, I, of course, didn't have a job. So the only way I was going to be making any money or get any money was from like an allowance from my parents, which they would send me some money each and every single week. And then how I would spend that money is like fast food, like McDonald's, Wendy's. What else did we have? We had like Taco Bell. And then I would spend the rest of the money that I would have on weed and alcohol. And that was very bad, especially because like my parents aren't rich by any means. So, them sending me money, very grateful for that. But then I'm not very grateful for my previous self, where I would just spend that very hard-earned money that they got on weed and very bad vices. So yeah, university, not a very fun time. I mean, it was a very fun time, too much fun of a time, where I would just pretend that I was going to live in that life forever, where money would just keep coming to me from my parents and that I wouldn't really have any responsibilities. And I was just like an 18-year-old, 19-year-old kid. I think I was 19, and just spending all that money on destroying myself, whether that be the alcohol, the weed. And then the thing is like all of my friends in university, they're all still doing the exact same thing. But now some of them, they are graduated, but some of them are still in university, but they're all just still smoking, drinking, not having any money coming in, not traveling the world. not having any type of freedom whatsoever and just relying solely on their parents for like an income to be able to like, get cars or buy groceries or all this type of stuff. But the thing is, I was just so tired of like relying on my parents for money, as well as like knowing that I was spending the money on things that were destroying me instead of helping me build up my skills, my knowledge, or just leveling up my life in any shape or form. I was just like very tired of like waking up every single day. Or like what I would do on a daily basis is just like wake up, go to my car, smoke a joint, go to class. Maybe I like probably went to class like less than 10 times. Because all my friends, all we would do during the day was like play Fortnite, smoke weed, get high. I mean, for a degenerate, for like a pothead, that's like the dream life, just waking up, smoking weed, eating some snacks at 7-Eleven, or at we had this thing called, I forgot what it was called, but it was like in the gym we had like a food card pretty much. We could order food basically for free because it's kind of like on your school loan. It's kind of like in the deal where you can get free food, a certain amount each and every single day. So getting free food, being able to game all day, skipping class, there wasn't really any dire consequences. Like if you didn't go to class, you're getting kicked out the next day. It's not how it worked. You would just kind of see that later on with like your grades going down the drain. But yeah, just waking up, smoking weed, eating, gaming all day, skipping class, napping, jerking off, going to clubs, partying, screwing around with different girls. During that time, I think it was either during my senior year or during college where I slept around with like the most girls, but not a very good thing to do, especially if you're trying to focus on leveling up. But yeah, of course, after like a year and a half, I got very, very tired of just going through day in, day out, smoking weed, not even knowing what I was doing. I just started getting so much anxiety. I started getting depressed because instead of living for a purpose, I was just living solely for pleasure of like how I was going to get the next joint, how I was going to go to the next club, the next bar, to get the next drink of alcohol, to find the next girl. Like all these things were the only things that my purpose was. Like waking up in the morning, I had no like deeper purpose of why I was living. And that led to very, very dark times. Like sometimes a lot of my friends, they didn't want to go out. They just wanted to play Fortnite. I was just so sick of playing video games that I would just go out by myself. And the thing is, like, we obviously like to get drunk. So before I went out, I like downed like 4 or 5 shots of like this vodka, got mad drunk, and then started driving in the mountains. And through those mountains, it's like, it's the fucking mountains. Like you're going down these super curvy roads. And I had like this Honda Civic at the time, which is not any means a very fast car, but I was pushing it definitely to the limits. Driving through the mountains, listening to like heavy metal. And I didn't really care like if I died because like I had really nothing going for me. No type of life that I had worth living for. So I was just, swerving through the mountains drunk, going to the club up north. And I was just, just testing the limits of like, why am I even alive? Is this even a life that I'm supposed to be living? Like, I just feel like I was wasting all of my time, my energy, my parents' money. And it was just a very downward spiral in terms of like how things were going. And this was like a year in. So at this point, like after a year of university, I decided for myself after a very, very insightful shroom trip at one of my friends' places, down in Kennesaw State. I think I took like 5 grams or 6 grams of shrooms. And that's when I was like alone in my friend's dorm. I think no one was there. And I was just looking at myself in the mirror and like looking at myself. And then I saw like the future that was like ahead of me. And it was just like the 9-to-5 corporate life where I was still living the same exact life, still the same skills, still the same state of mind of like feeling stuck, feeling unworthy, feeling helpless. Just a lot later on down the line, I kind of just saw my future. And at that point in time, I was like, oh my gosh, like if I keep this up, if I just keep on with this degeneracy, keep on just aimlessly going through life and university, not even knowing why I'm waking up each and every single day, then it'll be too late later on down the line. I'll be having to work for someone else, still having the same skills, still having the same life, and not having any changes happen whatsoever. So at that very moment, after that shroom trip, I realized for myself that college, university, this wasn't going to be for me, and that I had to find another way. And that's when I decided after that next semester that it was time to drop out, because like if I did stay in university, I'd still be in university right now, but I'd be getting in a lot more debt. I wouldn't be learning any skills because the thing is that I was going for a business degree. And the only thing that I was learning was from a fake guru who's never even touched six figures, someone who's never even operated or owned a business. And that's the only skills and knowledge that I was learning from. So I knew if I just stayed in that position that I would not get anywhere to where I wanted to be in life, which for a long period of time, ever since I was in high school, I've always wanted to travel the world, make money online. And my original plan before going to university was to go to the Netherlands and to just go there with no income, just a little bit saved up to figure out a way to make money online. And I wonder what would have happened if I did do that. But the thing is, I was so high all the time, drinking, so distracted by all of these distractions. I had TikTok brain, pothead brain. I was just grinding in the complete wrong direction. My head was fully clouded and I had no idea what I was doing. So if I did go to the Netherlands before university, who could tell what would have happened? But luckily enough for me, I dropped out early enough, only after a year and a half of going to university, worked 2 9-to-5s, saved up a bit of money, invested in this physical business, which was like this physical contracting, which is what I like, put gutters on the roof of houses or gutter guards on the gutters of houses, then crashed a truck. And then I was like at rock bottom. And then that's when I got the $1,500 loan from one of my friends that I met at the gym, came out to Thailand, and the rest is history, being able to make $20,000 a month online with remote sales. It just all came from that turning point of realizing that no one was going to come save me, and that if nothing changed, then nothing was going to change. And that if I didn't clear my head and clear my vices from my life, then those vices would control my life, and that I would end up just being an absolute loser for the rest of my life. And I would still be in university to this day, still not having time freedom, location freedom, or definitely not financial freedom. And I probably have no brain cells, probably have a girl pregnant, or probably crashing in those very twisty mountains in North Georgia. But I mean, other than that, it's been a very grand adventure so far. But I mean, it just depends on like what you're going for in life. If university would be worth it for you. Personally, I don't think so, just because I wanted to travel the world, make money online, and they don't teach that in university at all. So I think the best teacher that you can learn from is definitely life itself. Being out here in Thailand, I've definitely grown 100x over these last 2 years compared to maybe 20 years back home in my hometown. Just because like when you're alone, no way to make money, $0 to your name in a foreign country with no friends, nothing going for you. That's when you get to kind of put yourself in a pressure cooker of like nothing's going for you, and your back is against the wall. You've burned the boats. You've told yourself you're not going home until you find a way to make it work. That's when you create the man for yourself, where you find a way to make things work, to start creating the life that you want, and to mold reality to your will, to find out what type of life you want to create and what you'll be willing to do in order to do that for yourself. And that's exactly what I did. But it all came from this one decision. You don't have to do a shroom trip. It just takes like sitting down with yourself and asking yourself, like, is the path that you're on right now the path that you want to go down? And what does this path lead you to? Like, if you look at the path that you're on right now, like you need to look down 5 years, 10 years down the line. What does your life look like down this path? And that's exactly what I did. I looked down, like if I finish university with this business degree, what is that going to get me? And I was like, well, I'm going to end up back to where I started when I first went to university. I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. So that's when I realized I needed to drop out and find a different way to find a path and a vehicle that actually gets me to where I wanted to go, which is where I am right now. So you just have to look at life as like a chess game or like a video game. Like you need to figure out what path you want to take, and if the path you're on right now is the path that's going to get you to where you want to go. Because if not, you just need to change paths and find the path that lines up with your goals and who you want to become and who you need to be in order to get there. But yeah, other than that, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Just telling you guys my quick story on like what college was like, why I went there, what it was like, and why I left, and how life turned out for me after dropping out. So hopefully this inspired you, maybe gave you some insights of maybe this is something you're kind of going through right now. And maybe you're deciding whether or not to drop out or to stay in university. It just depends entirely on your goals and what you want out of this very short life. If you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, you want to help people or save people from jail, then college is definitely for you. But if you want like time freedom, location freedom, if you want to make money online, Then university, I don't think that can help you very much just because you're only learning from fake gurus, people who've never done what you're wanting to do. So you need to learn from people who've already done what you want to do so that we can learn what they're doing, what they're not doing, what skills they have, what vehicles they're in, and everything in between. But yeah, other than that, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bam.